everyone, or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Maria, and today's video is going to be basically a book haul for the month of September. So I'd say this one's a little bit more modest than my usual hauls, and I say that with there still being probably around 8 or 9 books, which I know for most people that isn't modest, but I haven't actually been book shopping too much this month, and most of these are just my subscriptions or pre-orders that I made quite some time ago. So for me it feels like I haven't really been book shopping, but the deliveries have still been coming. So does that count? Do pre-orders count? I don't think so. But anyway, today's just going to be an unboxing of these, just a bit of a book haul, showing you all the books that I bought over the last month. So without further ado, let's just get into the haul. So the first book I bought is Goldfinch by Raven Kennedy, and this is actually the last in the series, so it's a 6-book series, and this came out in September, and it was one of my really highly anticipated reads this year. Absolutely love the Plated Prisoner series, so I couldn't wait to get this 6th one, and I do have all of the Waterstones exclusive editions, so they just got kind of I believe this is the standard cover, but then they do have these sprayed edges. Then the naked hardback is pretty plain, but it does have this nice gold foiling on the spine as well, and they're signed. So I definitely wanted to get my hands on this edition to complete my collection. I do have the Fairyloot editions as well, and I'm really hoping that they're going to bring out a full series edition on that. So there's 3 books that we don't have in the Fairyloot editions, but I really love the Fairyloot editions. Let me just show you them to show you the difference. So this is the Fairyloot one. As you can see, it's a completely redesigned cover and the sprayed edges are black. So for me personally, I actually really love these. So I do think if they bring out the rest of these on Fairyloot, I may get rid of my Waterstones ones because I do much prefer these, and I love that they have the character art in there as well. So we'll see. If we get the rest of the series in Fairyloot, it may be time to unhaul these ones, because even though I do love the series, I won't need 2 full editions. So we'll see what happens. But if you haven't heard of this series, it basically starts with the Book Guild, and it's somewhat of a King Midas retelling or reimagining essentially. We follow our main character Orin, who is what's called a saddle or a concubine for King Midas at this time, and it's kind of just following her journey. She is quite oppressed, she's quite mistreated within that first book, and the story really does expand from the first book to explore new worlds, new powers, new lands. And yeah, when you read the first book, for me almost like a prequel to what the actual real series is about. So it is a bit of a slog to get through that first book in my opinion. I rated it 3 stars when I initially read it, but I'm so glad I stuck with it and continued on with the series because it's become one of my favourite series. And I have actually read this one. I read this one in September as soon as it came out and really enjoyed it, really liked the ending. I do think it's been left a little bit open, and I'm kind of hoping that's so that she can do some spin-off series or something like that, but it wasn't quite a 5-star for me. This was a 4-star, this book, but in terms of the series, it's definitely a 5-star series. So if you haven't checked it out yet, this is your sign to check it out. Okay, so the rest of the boxes, I have some Fairyloot pre-orders. I've got my Illumicrate subscription, my Fairyloot subscription as well, and then a couple of Waterstones ones. So I think I'll do the Waterstones ones first. So the first one I have is quite a short one, and I was actually quite surprised when this arrived at how short it was, but it's Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. And M.L. Rio is the author of If We Were Villains, so that's one of my reads this year that I've rated 5 stars. I read it in, I think it was January or February time. Absolutely loved it, loved the writing style, loved the story. I was just immersed from page 1, so I really wanted to read this. And as I say, I wasn't actually aware that it was a novella. I obviously didn't read the description very well, so when it came I was a little bit surprised that it's so short, but that's perfect because I have so many books in my TBR. I'm not sure when I will get to this one, but a short book may be able to squeeze its way in there. But this one is signed by the author as well, so as soon as I seen that I was really excited because, as I say, I absolutely loved If We Were Villains by this author. So from my understanding, this one's kind of following a ragtag group of people who are going around this cemetery and they find a freshly dug grave where there shouldn't be one. They kind of work together to try and unravel this mystery. So I think it's a graveyard worker, a journalist, and as I say, just a bit of a ragtag group that end up having their stories converge and have to try and unravel this mystery. So really excited to read this one. As I said, it's a short one, so it shouldn't be too hard to squeeze in, but sounds like it would be perfect for the spooky season. Okay, and the next one from Waterstones is a little bit random, a little bit out of my usual kind of reading tastes, but if you're a millennial girl, you'll probably recognise this, and it's probably one that will bring a lot of nostalgia for you, but it's Jacqueline Wilson's Think Again. And as I say, if you're in and around my age group, you'll probably know who Jacqueline Wilson is. She was probably one of the authors that you grew up on, and most teenage girls that were around the kind of 10 to 14 age range when she was writing her previous books will have read one of them. I mean, there's quite a few series that were made from them. I never watched the TV shows, weirdly, but I always loved her books. So she had like Bad Girls, Tracy Beaker, and then also obviously the Girls in Love, Girls Out Late was part of this series. So this is actually following the characters that were part of that initial series. So the Girls in Love, Girls Out Late, Nadine, Magda and Ellie, and essentially it's just kind of a checking in on them. I think they're all around 40 within the book, seeing where they are with their lives, seeing where they ended up. And for me, I just thought, even if I don't love it, it's something that's going to be really nostalgic for me. It's a signed copy as well. So Jacqueline Wilson, as I say, is one of my kind of lifetime favourite authors. So I was really excited to get a copy of this, really excited to get a signed copy, and I'm actually really excited to read it as well. So a little bit different than the usual genres that I read these days, but definitely one that I will be highly anticipating. Okay, and next up, because there is only one of them, I'll do my Illumicrate box. So this is the September box. And the book pick for September is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft, I believe. So this is the cover. I believe this is a completely redesigned cover. And then you've got some similar artwork on the back. Then some pretty sprayed edges as well. Then on the naked hardcover, we've got this artwork, which is, I believe, the artwork from the original cover. So that's quite cool that we get this on here. Then it is just plain on the back and just minimal foiling. And then we have these end papers, which are interesting because I don't actually know what the story is about. I just know that some people have, interesting. I just know that some people have said it's really good, or that they've read from Alison Saft in the past and really enjoyed her writing. I haven't read anything by her. I do have a few books on my TBR by Alison Saft. So A Far Wilder Magic, and there's another one that I can't remember the name of right now, but I do have a couple of her books on my TBR. I just haven't got to them yet. But this one seems to be centering a folklorist who is going on an expedition, and basically at the start of this expedition, one of her mentors is murdered. So the only people who could be culpable are the rest of the expeditionists on this ship, and essentially there's only one person that she knows has to be innocent, and that's her rival. So guessing that's where there's going to be a bit of a love story in here. It seems there's going to be a murder mystery, and it just sounds really good. That's all I really need to know to be a little bit intrigued. And as I say, a lot of people have said they really love Alison Saft's writing, so I'll be excited to pick this one up. Okay, so next up I'll do some of my pre-orders from Fairyloot. So I had a couple of pre-orders come in, and the first one I was really anticipating the arrival of this because it was absolutely stunning when we seen the mock-up of it, and I'm really glad that they decided to change some of the elements because they weren't working when they were doing the original mock-up. But it's Howl's Moving Castle by Diane Wynne Jones, and this is one I actually read quite recently. I think it was just the tail end of the summer I read this as part of a reading vlog, so if you do want to see my thoughts on that, head over to that vlog to have a look. But really enjoyed this. This is technically children's fiction, but it was one that I'd seen a lot of people say that they really loved. They either grew up and read it in their childhood, so it was one that was really nostalgic for them, or they discovered it when they were older because of the anime that has been made of it. And I've never watched the anime. I wanted to read the book before I watch it, but I can see why people were quite enamored with this one. I thought it was really whimsical, really fairy tale-esque, with a little bit of a dark edge on there, where we basically follow our main protagonist Sophie, who is the daughter of a hatter who passes away. So she's working within the hat shop to try and help her family survive, but she ends up catching the attention of the Witch of the Waste, who puts a curse on her to make her look old, ugly and haggard. And essentially Sophie's only choice is to go to Howl, who is a wizard who is quite revered within this town and also feared within the town, and she makes her way to his castle, and the story kind of goes from there. So as I say, I read it in the summer, really loved it. I think I gave it like a 4 to 4.5, but it was a really enjoyable read. But this is the cover that they've went with. I think this is the new UK cover, but I've seen a few different covers for this book, I think, because it is quite an older book, but I absolutely love the colours in this. It kind of really does reflect the story that's told here. Then obviously it follows on to the sprayed edges as well. Then the naked hardcover is really pretty as well. Not sure how well you can see it with the light, but it's kind of like a very light blue foiling, and it's showing the castle. And then on the back it's just Diane Wynne Jones' name on there with the foiling. End papers are pretty simple, kind of matching in with the cover, and there is a reversible dust jacket as well with some character art on there. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with this edition. Really glad I decided to read it in the summer, and I'm actually looking forward to watching the anime. I still haven't done that yet. I do need to do that, but yeah, definitely really happy with this edition and how it turned out. And the next pre-order is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. Now, you may have seen one of my previous unboxings. I did actually purchase the Waterstones edition of this as well. I may have forgot that I also pre-ordered this one. So that one has now been put on my Vinted, my Waterstones edition, because I don't need 2 copies. I haven't even read this book yet, but I absolutely love this edition. So between the two, I've decided to keep this one. But this is a completely redesigned cover. I really love this character art on there. And then on the back, it's just quite simple with a quote, and you've got the 3 witches, and then some really pretty sprayed edges. This one is also signed. End papers are quite simple, but I actually quite like those. And then again, the hardcover again is quite simple. It's just simple foiling, but I really like this kind of style. I like the colour of it with the gold on there. So yeah, really happy with this edition. So this one, from what I've been told and what I've seen, a lot of people are calling it a retelling of Lady Macbeth, but it's actually more of a reimagining. It's kind of just taking the inspiration of that character and making up a new story around it. So it centres kind of Lady Macbeth, her husband, her unravelling some of his occult magical secrets, and that's all I kind of know going into this. I don't really want to know too much more. I do want to go into this blind. I've read from Ava Reid before, A Study in Drowning. Really loved it. Loved her writing style, loved the atmosphere that she built. So I think I will enjoy this one. A lot of people that I usually have quite similar taste to have read this and really enjoyed it, so I'll definitely be excited to read this one, hopefully in November. I was supposed to put it on my October TBR but completely forgot about it, so it may have to wait until November now, but either way I'll be excited to read this one when I get a chance. And then lastly, for my subscription boxes, I do have my Fairyloot. So I get the young adult and the adult subscription box, the combo box, just the books. I was going to sign up for the romantasy one, but I really just need to try and curb back the amount of subscriptions I have. So for the moment, I'm just on the YA and the adult one. So we'll go through the YA one first. And the book pick this month is The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle. And this is the cover. That's the back. Then we've got some really cool sprayed edges as well. Now, I haven't heard anything about this one and I haven't read from this author, but I believe she is quite well known. So apologies if it's one of your favourite authors and I'm just ignorant to her works. I haven't heard anything from her. So she will be a new author to me. But as soon as I seen this edition, I was just really excited to read it. So looking at the end papers, I thought that was really cool. Kind of giving me Throne of Glass vibes maybe. But again, I don't know if the story has anything close to resembling that. So not sure if that's anything to do with the inspiration for this one. Then these are the back end papers. And then we have this naked hardback with the knife and the flame. And I think it's just the knife, the dagger, the flame. That's all giving me very much Throne of Glass vibes. It may just be because I'm in the middle of a Throne of Glass reread. So that's kind of all that's on my mind at the moment. And then we do have some character art as well. I'll try and angle this so that you can see it. So yeah, overall the edition of this is really pretty. It's definitely piquing my interest. But in terms of a synopsis, it's basically just saying it's set in a dark and atmospheric city. It features enemies to lovers romance, following two assassins, Throne of Glass vibes, from rival groups. It's a thrilling tale of love and revenge amidst a shadowy backdrop of magic and monsters. So yeah, I think that's probably why it's giving me the Throne of Glass vibes. It's very much within that realm, but it's likely to be very different. But because of that, I'm definitely intrigued, definitely interested to see where this one goes. And the edition looks really stunning. The character art is getting me intrigued. So hopefully I'll be able to pick this one up soon. And then for the adult book pick, we've got The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart. So again, this isn't an author I've heard of, but seems to be an author who has written a best-selling series, and it just so happens I haven't read it. I think it's The Bone Shard Daughter or something like that. I think that's where I've seen her name. I could be completely wrong, but this is a new series, not related to the previous series, I believe. Not sure if this is a complete rework or if this is just a colorway change on the original cover, but it's really pretty. I like the reds and the purples together. Then we've got the sprayed edges. Okay, the artwork's getting me intrigued. So this is the internal end pages. Guessing these are the two main characters. Then we've got this at the end, which looks like a very different setting. So I'll be interested to see how those play in. And then the naked hardback is quite simple, really. Just a lot of foiling on there with the design on the back. And then the character art on the dust jacket as well. So this one, it just says, in a world where precious gemstones bestow magical abilities on the few who can harness their power, our main character Hakara must lead a rebellion against the gods themselves in order to find her missing sister. So not giving too much about what the world's going to be like or kind of the theme of this one, but be interested to see how this one goes. Wondering if there's going to be some kind of change of sides with the gods or something like that, but either way I'd be intrigued to read this one, because if it is the correct series that I'm thinking of, that is one that I've been interested in, so potentially be interested in this one as well. But as I say, it's not one I've heard of, one that I do want to read. I think I'd be interested in reading this one. And then lastly, I do have a few books that I bought while I was on holiday in Alicante. If you've seen my travel vlog, you may have seen that, but I just wanted to throw them in here just in case you didn't watch that, or if you haven't seen it yet. But it was basically some special editions that I seen of Throne of Glass and ACOTAR. So basically it was just in their usual shop. It's kind of like their Waterstones or their Barnes & Noble. It's called Casa de Libros. And essentially I was just looking around in there and came across some of these absolutely stunning special editions. They seem to just kind of be standard print, as in anyone can buy them. They don't seem to be specific to Casa de Libros or anything like that. They just seem to be the Spanish editions through this certain publishing house. So as soon as I seen them, I instantly kind of just went straight to them, a bit like a magpie. I was just attracted attracted to them straight away. And even though they're written in Spanish, which I cannot read, I just couldn't leave them. So the first one I seen is A Court of Thorns and Roses. So they're just very plain in terms of these dust jackets, but I actually really like it that they're quite uniform and quite simple. But this is what really sold me on them. So they've got some really pretty sprayed edges there, just like roses with the red. So very synonymous with this series. And then the other thing that kind of convinced me I couldn't leave this behind is the foiling on the naked hardback, which is, I believe, the foiling that is on some of the English language special editions, which don't have these sprayed edges, but I believe this foiling is available in a special edition in English as well. Then we've got the foiling on the back as well. So yeah, as soon as I seen that, I just knew I couldn't leave without it. And I also couldn't leave without this one. Now, the dust jacket for this one is somewhere that I can't remember. I can't remember where I put it. I think I put it with my other dust jackets, but I'm displaying this one as it is. But basically the dust jacket is just the same as this, only it's A Court of Mist and Fury. And when I seen this, I just knew there was no way I was leaving Spain without picking this up. And if you've read the series, you've read this book in particular, you'll know which scene this is depicting. So I just couldn't leave without it. So I just thought it was absolutely stunning. And then again, it has some of these sprayed edges, which are just synonymous with the series. And these are taking pride of place on my shelf. So this is sitting up there. But yeah, as soon as I seen these, I just couldn't leave them. Even though I can't speak Spanish, I've justified it to myself by saying I probably wouldn't have read from a special edition like this anyway. That's my reasoning and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, really glad I got both of those. And then the last one I got is Throne of Glass, which I'm currently, as I say, rereading at the moment. So when I seen this one, from the face of it, it kind of looks like a very standard edition, but then you look at the sprayed edges and you can see why I couldn't leave this one either. Now this one was wrapped up in cellophane when I was in the store, so I wasn't too sure what to expect, if there was anything under the dust jacket or if it was just those sprayed edges. But very happy to report there was some really beautiful foiling under that dust jacket as well. So again, kind of helped me justify my decision to buy these, even though I can't speak Spanish. And I believe they will be coming out with the entire series in these editions. So the entire Throne of Glass series and the entire ACOTAR series all have these special editions with the sprayed edges. I believe for ACOTAR it's only out until the third book. For this one, at this point, I think it's just the first book. Potentially the second book is available at the moment, but it looks like they're going to be releasing them over the next few months. So if you speak Spanish, if you live in Spain, or you just want these versions for yourself, definitely look them up. They're absolutely beautiful. I'll put the links in the description below so that you can get them. I believe Casa del Libros ships internationally, so you may be able to get them through that channel. But yeah, as soon as I saw these, I just didn't want to leave without them. I knew I'd be thinking about them, so decided to treat myself. And as it is some of my favourite series, I've justified it in my head that it was a completely rational choice. Okay, so that's everything. So that's all the books I hauled this month. As I say, I haven't actually been physically book shopping apart from when I was on holiday, so I felt like I hadn't really purchased that many, but this is still a pretty reasonable stack for 1 month worth of book shopping. But let me know if you got any of these. Let me know what your kind of last haul was. Is there anything I need to be looking at? Anything I need to be picking up? Definitely let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, do remember to give it a like. And if you want to see more from me, remember to subscribe. I'm posting 2 videos per week, so it's videos like this, book hauls, book shopping, reading vlogs, all good bookish things like that. Other than that, thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye!